Welcome everybody. My name's Scott Hubbard from Sparx Systems, and I'm very pleased for you to be joining the Sparx Global Enterprise Architect webinar series. It's great to have you here today, and it's great to be able to host the topic today, which is Enterprise Architect for Business Analysis. So the Enterprise Architect for Business Analysis has had a number of different episodes in this webinar series. And we've looked at planning, and we've looked at the day in the life of a BA and a number of other topics. And today we're going to be looking at importing requirements from Microsoft Word and Excel and bringing them into Enterprise Architect to help provide traceability and a number of different benefits. Our presenter today is Nithya. So Nithya is a solutions architect with many years experience, and has a great deal of skills around business analysis and solution modeling. And so we're very pleased to have her join us today and to be able to present on how to get things out of Word and Excel and bring them into Enterprise Architect. So the agenda for today, I'm going to briefly talk about how to submit questions for that. Then going to look at why it's important to use Enterprise Architect, and we'll discuss why we import requirements from Word and Excel and some of the benefits that Enterprise Architect has to offer. We're then going to switch to Enterprise Architect and examine a model and look at the import process using Enterprise Architect. And finally, we'll have a Q&A session at the end where we'll be able to respond to some of your questions. How to ask questions. So please note that audio is muted for all participants. You'll be able to type your questions to the host, and if we can't answer them live, we'll follow up offline. And a copy of this webinar will be made available on the Sparx Systems YouTube site. So if you want to access that, simply do a search for Sparx Systems YouTube, and all of the previous webinars are freely available for you to view and to have a look at again. On screen, you can see the question box, which is provided by GoToWebinar. Simply enter the text in the text box, hit send or hit enter on the numeric keypad. That'll come through to us, and we'll ask the questions at the end of the session. But right now, I'd like to hand over to Nithya, who is going to present on importing requirements from Word and Excel. And it's part of the Enterprise Architect for Business Analysis webinar series. So welcome, Nithya. And I can see the takeaways shown on screen, so that's coming through clearly. So welcome, and look forward to the presentation.
Thank you, Scott. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. How are you doing, Scott?
Yeah, not too bad. It's it's nice to be talking about EA and talking to our global audience. So it's fantastic.
Absolutely. So we've been having a couple of warm weekends in the spring. So did you do anything exciting?
Yeah, not too much, but it was really nice to go out and go for a walk, and obviously with the mask on and doing all of those safe things. But yes, it is nice to get a bit of sun and to
absolutely, it was gorgeous. Yes. Yeah, from this part of the world, yeah, we can have 10 people meet together in an outside environment. So last week I went to a falls called Lalal Falls, which is just near my house, like 20 minutes from my house. I hope, Scott, you know the place. It was gorgeous.
Yes, and
yeah, I met with a couple of families, and 10 people. And yeah, we planned on a picnic lunch, and that's when I prepared the Thai green papaya salad. Some of you might know how it tastes really good, especially on a warm day. Yes, and for 10 people, I was using a knife and then started to slice the papayas as julienne cuts. And then I wished I took the shredder from home, but I didn't. What do you think about this, Scott? Like, we should be using a tool that's intended for a purpose.
Absolutely. I think if you don't use the correct tool, you make life harder for yourself. It takes more time, and sometimes the results you get are less than ideal, which probably
Yes.
is a fantastic segue into what we're going to discuss right now.
That's exactly what I thought, while I was doing, I was actually experiencing this. I thought, this could be a good starting point for my webinar. Yeah. Anyways, we enjoyed the picnic and it was really absolutely gorgeous. I hope all the audience here also having good time, and the restrictions, COVID restrictions, as they are getting relaxed. We hope we get back to our normal social life with the masks on and with social distancing, of course. Okay, let's move on to the for the today's topic. I hope everyone can see my screen. Scott,
Yep,
can you
looks great.
confirm?
Yeah, I can
Good,
see
good.
your screen and it looks fantastic.
Lovely. Here are the takeaways from today's webinar. So how do we drag and drop requirements from text document? Need not be MS Word. I've added a few more things, little things which people might know or might not know, but to me it's a very useful feature of Enterprise Architect, which I've used personally. I've used many times and made my life much easier. So drag and drop requirements from any text documents or any external text into Enterprise Architect. Secondly, how to insert a requirements document as a model document. You all know Enterprise Architect is a repository, so you can actually hold a document as a model artifact inside the repository. So how do we do that? And third, it's somewhat related to the second one, where we insert or add the requirements document into the library for sharing. And it's kind of a library. It's just like a bookshelf, but in the repository. It's there in, you can categorize them, group them, and share them. You can have controlled sharing, etc. The fourth point is the main one, where we import requirements from MS Word into Enterprise Architect with attributes. And the final one is how to import requirements from Microsoft Excel into Enterprise Architect with as requirements with attributes, right? Okay. So why do we need to do all these things? Why I manage all my requirements in MS Word. What's a big deal? I can manage this way. There could be people who have that kind of ease of using MS Word and Excel to manage their requirements. That's fine. It's quite, even I've done that. But you would be in one of these scenarios, one of these four scenarios. Firstly, yes, I want to use a text document while I initially gather requirements and elicit on requirements, but however, I really like to use a proper requirements management tool to manage all my requirements. So that could be, I fall into this category, often have a notepad or even Word, like quickly get all the information, which is like a rough draft, and then I go into my Enterprise Architect environment and then have the curated version of the requirements modeled in EA. So I fall into this category. Secondly, in my organization, MS Word is a standard requirements tool. That's what we use, and we have been using, and people are so used to it. But I would like to really use a tool that's built for requirements management, so you can actually influence your organization to move on to a higher level where, to level up and actually manage all the requirements in the requirements management tool. If you have been following our webinars, throughout all the webinars in this EA for BA series, we've been emphasizing on the importance of managing requirements in a requirements management tool, which will help you in establishing end-to-end traceability and packed with whole lot of rich features. So what is the problem with maintaining the requirements in MS Word? First of all, sharing is inefficient and it's hard to collaborate. Imagine, I'm sure you will agree with this point. If you had been using MS Word for maintaining requirements. You have this requirements document, send it for review for like, 10 people in your team, or like 4 or 5 people in your team, and then they put on comments, update it, and over the time you lose track of, okay, what version is the latest one, which is the one that I have to update, and it's really hard to manage. The reasons are there could be other problems as well. People in your team could hold versions which are different to each other. They're not all members are having the same version of Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office, to be precise. So that will also result in some technical limitations. Finally, if you want to use it on the go, it's not very user friendly. Like, I know there are mobile friendly apps for Microsoft Office applications, but still, it's not as easy to use MS Word and Excel, and then zoom in, zoom out, etc. in your small device or your tablet or any other device. So and to share it with senior stakeholders, it's really not friendly enough, I would say. So these are some of the problems. So there could also be a situation where it's like, okay, I really want to establish traceability between requirements to the business needs, the strategy, whether it's the corporate strategy or business strategy or functional strategy, towards from the business requirements up the up the pyramid, or to down the pyramid, I would say, like from my business requirement, how do I trace it down to the user stories, use case, or any solution components, even down to the level of the wireframes. I want to have that end-to-end traceability. So how do I achieve this? For this, you really need to be using a tool like Enterprise Architect, which is packed with features that support an efficient requirements management practice. So finally, people could be saying like, I want a ubiquitous requirements management solution to collaborate with stakeholders. Say, I really, my senior stakeholder, he's like on the move, he's on travel all the time, and he uses different devices. I want a solution where it is not complex enough for him to, use. I just want to show the required information to him, and it should be easy enough. He should be able to access in any device. How do I do that? To answer all these questions, we should be actually importing requirements into Enterprise Architect, and then follow up webinars to see like how rich features are packed in Enterprise Architect to enable traceability, to enable ubiquitous requirements management solution to share with your stakeholders, etc. So let's now dive into the details. Import requirements into Enterprise Architect. So for this, the prerequisite is you need to have Enterprise Architect installed, and along with that, you need to have this add-in, which is MDG link for Microsoft Office integration, and there's the link that I have given. If you follow this link, it will take you to a web page where you can download a trial version, or you can buy a version for yourself. Okay, sorry guys, that's too soon, is it not? Let me share my model now. Okay, and okay, share. Fantastic.
I can
are you
say
able to see?
EA now. That's
Thank
good.
you, Scott. Lovely. So here we are. So there's this checklist. We'll tick it off as we go through each and every topic. The first one is drag and drop requirements from MS Word. Could be any text. Let me open this one, and let's go into this topic. So for the sake of simplicity, I've taken a document with very simple requirements, a couple of requirements which relates to sales automation. For example, here, I'm going to select this and then drag and drop and say requirement. As simple as that. Okay, you just select, drag and drop, you get it here. Let me see what happens now. requirements, get it here. Now I'm going to open the Notes tab. I'll also keep the Properties tab open. So this is how I like my setup. So as you can see in the first one that which I drag dropped, the notes is not available, whereas here the notes is also added to this particular requirement. So what happens is this one, which is bold, considers as a topic, and then there's a description. So when I drag and drop the entire, and all these 3 lines from the word, and then I put it here, I select it as a requirement, and there you go. Have this requirement here, and then the notes is also added. How simple is it?
Very simple.
Absolutely. I've used this a lot of times. One more thing. So as I said, it need not be from MS Word. It can be from any place. So let me go into this. For example, this is our EA 15.2 page. I'll just come down for the sake of getting some proper text to copy. Let's say, so these are the requirements for the tool selection criteria, maybe. Okay, but let's say these are tool selection criteria. So I drag and drop and then say requirement. There you go. See, but what happened was the first line was taken as the element name, and the rest has gone into the description. So all you need to do is, if you want them as separate, it should probably be like this. If I copy the entire text and put it here, and then requirement, this would be a better one. See, manage complex information is one of the requirement, and the details are in here. So this could be a high level requirement, and then later on you can make these as separate, requirements under this as child requirements under this manage complex requirements. So it need not be from MS Word or just any text, can be even from a web page, anywhere. Just copy a text and drop it into EA, and then select what kind of element you would like that text to be, and then EA automatically generates that for you. Going back, let me take this off. Now, okay, it says there's a question, does dropping the requirements into EA automatically number this, and does it maintain a trace to the source? Maintaining a trace to the source would be only from Microsoft Word. If you have a proper document to sync with, that is possible. And automatic numbering, you have to set that. That's a separate feature in EA. Whenever an element or a package is created, you can set an automatic numbering to it. That is also possible, and I'm sure you'll be able to find the details. We'll throw in the link in the Q&A session later on. Going to the next topic, supporting BA documents. Okay, why did I put supporting BA documents? Is often what happens is we model requirements in Enterprise Architect, but still we need to have the traceability. Regarding the question from Patrick, we need to maintain some kind of traceability to, where's the source document. So what we can do is say right click and then insert a model document. As I mentioned, you can hold the actual source document inside Enterprise Architect repository as a model document. So into this, let's say I'll just say this is a text one. I just click here. It is in here, requirements text. If you double click, yes, I can see the source document. Oh, guys, I just did something. Yeah, double click. You will see this document. Okay, so that's one way. The other thing, the source was actually a link, was it not? So what I'm going to do now is insert and link to the document. It's a file system, but it could also be a URL. So I'll just put this one. I will show you how to add URL. You can have hyperlinks in the common artifacts. hyperlinks and then add the hyperlink in here. Like for example, our hyperlink here is sparksystems.com. I'll just go in here and then type it in. So this is one way. All right. So all the supporting documents need not be just a source document, like any supporting documents or evidence for your business analysis work, which mostly will be used in the performance metrics of business analysis activities, or to how to improve what we have done, anything for the sake of having the evidence of the BA work. It can all be stored as model documents. Believe me, you can even store videos, you can store audios. If you have had an interview for elicitation, you have recorded an interview, you can store it as well. So it need not just be text and URLs. You can do the same way, insert, store, and then just a link to the video or the audio of that particular document. That's how you save the supporting BA documents. So this is an additional information here. Hope that was useful. I use that a lot. And then here we have this okay, the third topic is import requirements document to the library. So what is a library? So library is this feature here in Enterprise Architect 15. So what it means is you can create new topic, and then say supporting docs, and then you can type it in, source, or elicitation, interview questions, or etc. Could be anything. Okay, you can either do this, that's one way. Another thing is add file from the file system. Just like we inserted the model document in a diagram as a model artifact, we are doing it here. Say open it. I'll just use a different one. Okay, there you go. It has inserted as CSV file in order to use in any open source spreadsheet application. So again, so if it's an external document, it will be added under resource. If you're creating a file, then you can add a file system. That's what we did. You can add a URL. You can share this resource. So it's very powerful here. So the difference is, I'll show you. If you see the browser and then supporting BA documents, you see this documents in here, right? We see these documents in here, whereas the library one, the requirement CSV or this, you don't see it in the project browser, but it's in the repository. It's a separate, it's like a bookshelf. You have you can create more categories, you can create more topics and more contents into it. It's like a sharing space. You create all these documents here which can be shared with your team members and which need not be a part of your model as such, the modeling space as such, but you need them as your supporting documents. You can use library. So where are the documents actually stored? One time I linked to the network drive, but then the network drive was no longer there. Are the documents stored in Sparx database? Oh, that's a good question from Deborah. If you store documents like this here in the diagram as insert model, if it is a model document, yes, it will be in here. Okay. If it is in the library, then probably it's pointing to the external source. That's a good one. That's triggered my thinking as well. I will just investigate further on this, Deborah.
And it's important to know that you can have internal artifacts that are then stored as first-class model elements within Enterprise Architect, so you never ever lose them. Because there's another question also saying, what's the benefit of having it in EA rather than a separate document? Well, from my experience, when people have a Word document printed out, it gets put in a drawer and people lose it, or it gets filed. And when it's stored as a first-class model element in the model repository, either as a linked document with that element or dragged as an artifact into Enterprise Architect, then it's tied directly to the solution architecture. It's in the repository. You can share that with other members and stakeholders and team members. It doesn't get lost, and it can then be linked to a business process, a business strategy, to code, to software solutions, to system designs, and you have that traceability as well. So just thought I'd add that to
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for pulling. That's great.
Questions.
Yes. Yes. So now that we have completed the third topic, we'll delve into importing requirements from MS Word document. I'll click on this diagram. So here it is. Okay. As I said, it's important for you to have the prerequisite satisfied. That is, you need to have the MDG link for Word importer enabled. Have to install that. So once you install this, option should be enabled. And then you should see this menu here, Microsoft Office and Visio. So here you will be able to see all the options as menus, all the capabilities menus here. All right. So the document that I'm going to import is, let's say I'm going to choose a table. Okay. It's a common practice, I believe, to have them as a table. So here it is. All right, I want to, as you say, the sales automation, just note they are like headings, heading 1, and these are heading 2, and there's notes. This is the name and the description of the requirement. Very simple. Okay, let's start with this. And then here I say import Word document. I will browse it from the local system, and then say table, open. And the profile I'm going to use is, I'll just go for the quick import requirements as table. Select that. If you want to see how that one actually looks like, you can go, the system defined profiles, you cannot edit them, but you can still view them in order to, use them as a reference point to create your own profiles. So we have this for element mapping, and then for the property mapping, and again the element mapping name is name and description is set to notes for this. Okay. Close this. Once I go to the profile manager, I have to reselect the profile and then say, if you want synchronization back and forth to your document and the model, you can enable them. For the sake of time, I'll just use add diagram to the package. If you want to add the original document as a linked document, you still can. Write a log file and then preview. Excuse me. Just thought I lost my voice for a bit. So you can click the preview, and here you see the package is created, sales automation, and then we have the notes for that package, and under which we have the elements. Okay, create daily sales report and cancel unpaid. This is the package, the notes for the package. These are the requirements and the notes. I say import. Everything looks good. All good. Import is complete, and I can close this. So here we can see cancel unpaid sales order, and you can also see the notes on your right side of the screen, the notes window. The notes have been created very well. And again, the notes is created here. Okay, and if I click on this package, sales automation package, again the notes is set. So very simple. All right, so I'll go into this, and then let's say profile manager for Word, and then I want to create a new profile. I've created one already, just but I'm going to try and create a new one. Hope it works fine, otherwise I'll use this, guys. I'm sure it's going to work fine, but just for the sake of surety, I've created one earlier. Say add new, so let me just name it as webinar, and okay, let me say just test. I will use the same document as a sample document. This is like a, a template for the profile generator to use. So I will just open this. And also here, what I'm going to do is I want to have, ID. So I insert columns to the right. I'll just say ID, and this will be SAFR 001, sales automation functional requirement 002, and then I close this one. Okay, I need to have this one in set as an alias field. See here, this one. Okay, so here I'll just say this one, and then have a header in the first row. So I select next heading, next. We got this right. So a name would be element type is requirement. So here you go, and then element property name should be set to name, and ID I want that to be alias, and then description I want that to be set to notes, and then say next. Yes, it's preview this structure. If you got it all right, alias and notes looks good, and then say next, and then create. You just say okay and confirm a new profile is created here. Fantastic. Okay, and I'm going to close this. Let's see how it's going to work now. Close this, and then Microsoft Office, import Word document. Then I browse the document. So once this is used as a sample document, now you can create more requirements document in the same template, the table structure what we have created. So that will, I'm just going to use this now, which is this document here. And then the profile is webinar. And I say, okay, add diagram. Don't want to write a log file. Let's say I'll just take this one as well, and then preview. And here you go. Okay, and then import. Import is complete. All right. So if you see now, do you see the alias created here? So that's a new, I'll open the properties window. I double clicked on the element cancel unpaid sales order. Now you see the name here and the description here and the alias, which is actually the ID of the requirement is added. So it's fine if we want to use, it works very well if we want to use the pre-built properties, but what if I have more values, like I want to add user-defined values, what do I do? So I go back here. Let's say I want to know, just say insert columns to the right. I want to know point of contact. Let me say just POC. So as a BA, you will have point of contact for each and every stakeholder team. That is an efficient way to have a point of contact. I'll just say Alexa here. Probably more responsive than many stakeholders. Do you guys agree? Okay, so this is going to be my new template, and what I'm going to do is go in here and then go to the profile manager, go here and edit. Am I being too fast in navigating the screens, Scott? Or is it a good pace?
No, that looks okay.
Fine. Okay, fantastic. That's good. Now I need to add that user-defined values. How do I do that? I just go here. There it is. So what I'm going to do now is I want it to be a new tagged value, and I call it point of contact, and then add. Okay, and then next, create. Just Okay, and then close. So we have updated the profile. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing, import Word. Let's say the updates have worked from the local system, or it could be from the SharePoint folder, table. You can create this, and then webinar. Okay, I'll just do that. Preview. Voila, here you go. Point of contact is Alexa. So it's worked. I'm glad it worked. It's nothing like you present live and something it's not working. It's quite embarrassing. But anyway, I choose to do this. Alrighty. So again, I'll double click on this so that you don't have to move your line of sight from left to right. Here you go. This is the properties. Cancel unpaid sales order is the name, and here is the description. And we have the alias, and in tags I have the point of contact, so that you can also add the user defined attributes to your requirements from your Word. You can import all those kind of details into EA quite easily. Fantastic. Now that we have completed the MS Word import, okay, I'll take this off. And we'll move on to the next topic, which is import elements from MS Excel. I would like to take this document here. So again, it's a very simple document with two requirements. Just for the sake of time, we have the type as requirement. So this is where we specify the type. Sometimes there will be scenarios where you have not specified the type. That is okay. We can all adjust it using the profiles. Okay, and we have the ID, name, and description. Lovely. Going back into Enterprise Architect, I'll just open. So I should be selecting this in order to get that imported into MS Excel import package. Now, in the same manner as we did profiles for Microsoft Word, there's also a profile manager for Excel. Let me open Profile Manager for Excel. The one that I will be using is, with element type. As you have observed, there is an element type which we have mentioned. So I will choose this one. It's much easier. I personally prefer this one. And then let's just see what it has. And there's a view. If you're creating your own profile, it's worth noting that there are a set of sample documents. When you install MDG Link, there'll be the sample documents installed in a particular path. You can open that and see how it is. It'll be like huge document, so it'll be easier for you to manipulate the document to suit your needs. Where we have IDs and alias, name, description, priority, status. It's all like mapped onto the EA property, and the Excel document will have the same columns. Okay, not particularly in the same order, but same columns. So this is what it is. So now that we saw the profile manager, viewed the profile, and we will import Excel document now, and then browse from local and say this one, open. In the worksheet, I want sheet 1. Just sales automation, simple, and then profile would be Excel with element type. Want to add a diagram, okay, and you can check all these. If you want to have configure hierarchy like parent requirement and child requirement, you'll be able to do it. Again, you'll be managing all these things through the profile. Let me click on preview. There you go. So looks perfect. And I import. Okay. Here it is. So there it is again. This alias is REQ2, this is REQ1, and we have the notes. I'll just double click just in case people have missed seeing that. So there's a name, there's a description, and the alias field. Okay, fine. Sheet 2. Now, as I said, you can update your profile. Like in Microsoft Word, we updated the profile to add user-defined tag values. You can do the same thing for Excel as well. And here, for example, say dependent requirement. For example, I want to create, excuse me, guys. I want to create a relationship between these two. I want to have that kind of relationship captured into the EA environment as well. What do I do? So what I've done is I've added an extra column saying dependent requirement, and I've given the name of that requirement in here. So here you go, and then import Excel document, and I will browse from the local file system, choose this. Now I'm looking at this one. Okay, with relationship profile would be there should be one with functional requirements. We are in doing the functional requirements. If you're keen to know what's there in that profile, I'll just open that as well for you to see. So there you go, have the standard element mapping, and there is also a connector mapping. So the dependent requirement is a property name. That is exactly what we have here. This has to match. It's dependent requirement, and then the requirement, whatever the name of the requirement you want to connect to, it has to be in this particular cell. Once you do that, this mapping will be done. So now that we have viewed the profile, I'll just say, obviously, if you want the relationship to be shown in the diagram, you have to add the diagram, and then you just do the preview, have that, and then import. Another thing is this dependency can be any relationship. Okay, for our case, I'll just leave it with dependency, and then say okay. Voila, there you go. So we have captured the relationship between these requirements as well. That's how we do it. Profile manager for Excel. This is the one that I created earlier. I'm not going to create a new one. I've already done that for the Word. It's a similar way we are going to do. So I'm just going to just say view. This is the user-defined tag values which I've added. POC, point of contact, for Excel as well. So how do we add user-defined? Because we have a little bit of extra time, I'll use that time as well. Let's say POC, and then I'll say, let's just say Siri this time. Okay. All right. So, okay. Now I want to add import Excel document, and I browse from local system, use this, and then the worksheet 1. Package name is with user defined tagged. I'll just say properties. Okay, and the profile will be the one that I've created. I need to have a diagram, and then click on preview. There you go, point of contact. It is getting added in the preview. That's good. I import. Fantastic. All good. And click on this. Now you have the name, the description, and in the tags we have the user-defined tag values or user-defined properties added as well. So now we have covered all the topics. So that's good. I'll just open a sample document just for you to say, like, because I've used only a simple document. This is a sample document with dependent requirements. The dependency can be not just one, the connector need not be for one requirement, it could be for multiple requirements. Here, as you see, this is a requirement here, manage users, which has a dependency with two separate requirements. One is validate user, another one is add books, which is a comma separated value, like that, another one here. So it's very simple, like it's worth investing some time for the initial setup to capture all these things. So once you have this template document, a sample document ready for the profile manager to have a reference, and then you create more requirements document, it is just very simple. So it's just the initial part where you need to set this profile and a sample document for that suits or that is relevant to your organization, and then just go on from there. So that's from me today. Hope the information was useful, and I hope you'll be using this feature in your organization much.
Thanks, Nithya.
Someone says lost audio. Is that,
Yeah.
are you able to hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. So
Okay. Yeah.
That's okay.
Fine. So yeah, if you have lost audio, don't worry. You'll have the recorded version of this uploaded on YouTube soon.
So we might go through some of the Q&A. So there's a question there from Christopher that says, where do you add traceability of a requirement to a higher level solution design? So perhaps you could show how you can quickly, create a use case or a business process element and link that to a requirement.
Yeah, sure. Where to add traceability recommended high level solution? Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. Say, for example, I will create, just create one from the pattern so that we'll use this time to show more features. Okay. Let's say use case. Okay, there you go. Behavioral, and then I will use a structured this one here, and I create the pattern, and for the sake of demonstration, I will say use case A is related to the let's just choose one of this because we have a whole set of requirements. I'll use the last one created with relationship. We'll just use this one. What I can do is I choose to use the matrix, relationship matrix, and just click matrix. And then, so it's set as requirement and use case. The source will be locate package in browser. As I said, we are going to use the one we did with relationship. Okay. And then here, locate package in browser. You can choose anything, not be the one with relationship, or just happen to choose that. No, we need to have the use case, right? So I'll just use cases. Okay, so as you see, we have the matrix has loaded with the appropriate elements here because the type we have filtered to requirement and use cases, and the relationship type we have set it to realization. Let's we can choose between any any kind of relationship here, and the direction as well. So if you want to set the traceability, just right click and create a new relationship. Now the relationship will be set, and then here new relationship, the relationship will be set. Okay, we have established. Let's see if the relationship has actually created. Just go in here. Okay, I'll just say click, insert related elements. Okay, there's already the create daily sales reports already in the diagram. So I say, oh, there you go. And I say insert related elements. Okay, let's use case B. So it's not just this use case. If there's more activities and solution components that, you know, as the stages go by, the analysis stage and modeling and architectural stage, solutioning stage progresses, there'll be more and more architectural artifacts, like, you know, the activity diagrams, the rule models, the decision models, the business process models, etc., solution components, etc. Everything can be traced. So from this requirement, you can even trace to your, say, even the wireframes.
So now that you've shown that, Nithya, perhaps you could bring up the traceability window and show how that requirement is linked to the use case. And so any element in Enterprise Architect, you can trace that requirement all the way to high-level strategy.
Thinking, Scott. Very good thinking. I didn't actually think of showing the traceability window. Here you go. There's the traceability window. I'm just pulling it off just for you to notice it. So I'll just fix it here, and I click on this particular element, and you can see cancel unpaid sales order implements this particular use case. And say if you go the other way, use case is realized by this particular, you know, and then the actor, so just shows all the relationships with this particular element. That's the traceability view. The another one is the inspector view, which I'm starting to use this a lot for my work. If you say, like, you know, you create.
And someone asked a question about the also the specification view. So yeah.
Yeah, let me finish this off. So cancel unpaid sales order, you click on this and you can see the relationships, discussions, requirements, all the scenarios, any files, you know, linked to this. If there's any testing or even the resources allocated, any kind of project management, you know, things that are related to this particular requirement, you can view all this in one go in the inspector window. Sorry, Scott, what was the other thing that you mentioned?
Yeah, so you pointed out the inspector, but you can also right-click on the diagram and view as a specification view, and many BAs find that specification view quite quite useful.
Give me 1 second. What I will do is I will go into a different, okay, this one here. Say, for example, we want to create a lot of elements here, but I'm so used to Word and Excel. I like the, you know, the layout, the column, tabular way of working things. What I do is you can switch the view. So in the diagram, right click and then switch view, and go into, I want to see it in the specification view. Click on the specification view. There you go. So you have these requirements and the nodes and all the basic properties in here. I just close the, okay, I'm just struggling to find my pointer. There you go. So this is the specification view. If you want to add new, you can just add new requirement and say, okay, send daily updates. Could be a child requirement for create daily sales report, and then add more. Yes, so
yeah, that's great. I just know many BAs like that format because it's all text-based, and it
you're
makes
right. You're right. I mean, like, I used to be one of them, but now I kind of, after switching to here, I'm using EL a lot. So yeah, fantastic.
I might just ask another few quick questions. So there was a question from Patrick about automatically numbering, and I know you might have discussed it previously, but perhaps you could just highlight how easy it is to automatically number requirements.
Yeah, putting me in a hard position, Scott. I see. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Apply auto naming.
You've done it.
It's not
so hard. It took 2 seconds. Yeah, basically that's all you have to do. You apply that.
You click on the apply auto naming which is in the specification view, specify section of the menu, and then go in there, apply auto naming, and then prefix auto name to current name, and then configure auto naming. You can configure, say, and then have a counter, say FR, and the counter is maybe start with 4, since we already have. Apply on creation. If you want a suffix, yes, you can. Say, for example, you want to have some organization unit for, let's say, sales here. Just I'm making things up, guys. So, and type will be for requirements. You can have separate prefix for, it's going away. Yep. I'll just say FR. Counter will be like 4, and suffix will be SA. Apply on creation, save, and then close, and we have this. Hope this works. Not been using this lately, so let me say, yeah,
And
there it
there
is,
you go.
FR for SA. So auto naming, it works. Key.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
just another few quick questions. So you imported a whole lot of requirements before, and there's one instance where the name of the requirement wasn't what you're expecting. Can you show people how easy it is if you want to change the name of a requirement? And how to
just double click and change the name. Is that what you're meaning?
Yes, yeah, that's all. So even though there's automated tools to make it simple and easy, it really is, I think Nithi's been able to show in less than a couple of minutes that you can, create relationships, you can maintain traceability, you can update, you can rename, you can automatically apply counters. So nearly all of the questions that people are asking about customizing and tailoring the experience, you've been able to show just in a couple of minutes. There was one other person that asked a question about, you're doing this with requirements, but what about requirements from Archimate? And so perhaps you'd like to be able to talk about that when you drag something from
Yes. So let's say I'll just open this up and just drag and drop this, and then you get this. Okay, what I need to do is, okay, sorry guys, I just I need to close this. I'll just create something. This, okay. I move this a bit so the visibility is good, and say drag and drop this. Okay, we want to have other, like say Archimate. Did it work? That's something which I'm not trying. That's a good question. We should follow it up. Okay.
But basically, you can add it to a different element. We happen to be doing it for standard UML requirements, but you can simply select a different type of requirement.
Yeah. So I'm sure you'll be able to do it using the profile, because there we have the ability to map to the elements and set the type of the elements.
Yes. So we can do that. So what I might do now is I might just wrap things up. So I'll just make myself presenter. So just to reiterate, this webinar will appear on the Sparx Systems YouTube site, and it will appear on sparxsystems.com. Usually it takes a little time for us to compile the Q&A, and you've been very enthusiastic and passionate with your questions, so I'm sure we'll have quite a few there to showcase. So the webinar will appear on YouTube and sparxsystems.com. Hopefully we'll get it on YouTube sort of within 24 hours, and just give us a few days for the content on sparxsystems.com. You can download Enterprise Architect 15.2. It's not the beta, but it has now been officially released. And you can email webinar@sparxsystems.com if you have any questions or any tips or ideas for future webinars. Thank you very much, Nithya, for your comprehensive presentation. I know there's lots of people there that have said thanks very much and they found it very helpful, and I'm sure they've learned a lot. So thank you, and I'd like to thank our audience for
my pleasure,
for
Scott.
joining us today. Very good. All right. Well, take care, everyone. Look after one another, and thanks for your time and for all your questions and energy and effort joining us today. And look forward to seeing you at a future webinar.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good support. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Bye.